Most community members believe that the second round of new gTLD application is closer than ever, and the year 2022 could be the turning point that further enrich the namespace. The ICANN board will go further to evaluate the impact of implementing the new gTLD subsequent procedures policy development process final report output. The investigation launched in Taiwan is instructive.
We ask questions such as, have you heard about new gTLD before? Well, are you willing to apply for a .brand for your company? The result is very good. It says that nearly 80% of the survey respondents have heard about new gTLD, and then there's nearly 70% of Taiwanese brands shows interest or even strong interest in applying .brand if there's a next round. We have also questions on, have you participated the last round of new gTLD, and what is your budget, annually for domain registration? The interesting finding is that 50% of the survey respondents does not know about the last round in 2012, and then 80%, nearly 80% of the Taiwanese business have the annual budget of NTD 100,000 or less for domain registration, which is about 3.5K US dollar, comparing to their industry peers in the United States or elsewhere. It's relatively low.
After analyzing a lot of data on an annual basis, development teams in Taiwan even realized that Google's SEO will address regional gTLD by weighting them differently, in other words. Thus, with a reasonable budget, the government could do more to promote by applying the gTLD, like the Taipei, the Tainan, the Kaohsiung, and the Taichung, to increase international exposure. These internationalized domain names have the potential to enable millions of users to navigate the internet in their native scripts and language.
.Taiwan is not, strictly speaking, a new gTLD, but as far as we are concerned, we believe this should be considered as new gTLD, and for 2022 survey result, we will make an announcement in our next meeting.
So a brief summary here of my presentation. What is the current status? We think that new gTLD is definitely one of the most powerful tools for brand marketing all over the world. For example, the Abbott's or BNP Paribas, they are indeed a global brand. If their business volume reaches a certain level, then they can use the brand to apply for the new domain names for better marketing purposes. But to apply for a new gTLD is actually a long-term endeavor. It's not just a one-off event. And also in markets in Taiwan, the .tw brands still take up more than 60%. It's still the most dominant or favored domain name by most Taiwanese enterprises. But we still need to pursue a moderate growth for new gTLD rather than overnight sensation.
Since Taiwan is to raise its visibility of the local regions and brands on the world map, applying for geographical gTLD becomes an efficient way to promote itself. As a matter of fact, this concept has been widely used in the next round new gTLD in many commercial fields.
What are some of the top brand streams? What are they registering? As you can see on the pie chart or the table, you can see some of the top ranking on most registered brand streams. In addition to some of the default ones like www or home, which are more generic, we actually can further deep dive into the details. For example, there are subcategories. There are three major subcategories. First one is called rapport building. That is to build a solid rapport with your clientele. For example, MY If Acer hadn't withdrawn from the application, then my.acer would be a strong brand stream to appeal to Acer's clientele. And there are also the so-called encourage action like shop, go, or shop.acer, or go.acer. This kind of what we call the encouraging action. These brand streams can be used for marketing purposes to encourage buying behaviors or encourage people to take action.
In 2012, most mega corporations may not have been as large yet or may not have been able to get all of their ducks in a row from their IP attorneys and the marketing teams. Nevertheless, they are now in a place and want to be able to take advantage of the next round of gTLDs application.
Newly launched, we have a swoosh.nike, and this is a fun one. So you can go there and kind of see the swoosh and also kind of get some information about what Nike is doing next. But we're really excited that Nike is joining in to be using their .brand. You know, anywhere from the fact that you can get online faster with the domain creation, you can end up having reduced costs. I caveat that because from a registry operator perspective, we do know that there are significant costs, but for some of the world's largest brands, that peace of mind for being able to register their brand is worth the application fees and things of that nature. You have availability across the board because they own their namespace. And so when you think of products going and things of that nature.
Brian also mentions, with the notion of the brand application, the international company's marketing projects could be liberated from the short-term media plans. However, Andy here reminds the possible clients, people literally have to deal with doing more than one thing with new gTLD in check.
You imagine you can do yoga.nike or like sporty woman.nike or any kind of particular audiences or sort of core idea they want to communicate that represent their brands. And there's one central place that you can go and see all the content that.
And then the other advice I would say is understand what those obligations are as a registry. They're not minimal, right? It's the infrastructure of the internet, so the bar is pretty high, and it can be a moving target with consensus policies and some of the changing things as the industry evolves and as different stakeholders get together and come to an agreement to make different requests and sometimes requirements of contracted parties.
To sum up, due to the high demand triggered by the pandemic and the global public interest framework that is currently being piloted, we can imagine that many users will turn to a domain under a new gTLD.